We should run, everybody.
Oh, yeah!
Just for this, buddy.
Woo! All right, Kane's going to introduce his mom to the guys. To them, not me.
My name is Amy Love.
Miss Amy. Miss Amy.
She's amazing.
Kill him, Mom!
What's her name?
Kill him!
All right, David. Hey, Kane, introduce your mom.
This is Miss Amy. Everybody say hi. Her name is Mary. I love her very much. My mom, Miss Katie. Miss Katie! hasn't been too happy with me recently, but she's not gonna hit me that hard though, I promise.
Before we do this, Miss Sage, we just want to let you know, and I'm speaking for the freshmen. We're all in your corner here, Miss Sage.
Oh, yeah. He always do the stick during home game. You always hear him yelling.
Thank you.
Hello, everyone, and welcome into Varsity Pins for the Isaac Shelby Coaches Show, our special playoff edition as the Wildcats have reached the playoffs for a 9th consecutive season. So congratulations, Wildcats, and I'm joined by two Wildcats right now on the bus. Coach Shelby said it was fine if I just interviewed you guys, so he jumped off for a second. We'll get him here in a second. But I do want to introduce my guests so far tonight. I'm Ethan Schmidt. Next to me is Avari Galbraith. He is a junior running back and a linebacker for us. And then next to Avari, to his right, is Jamarcus Watkins. He is a senior defensive back and what we would consider kind of a wing, a slot type receiver running back. Mr. Do-It-All over there, Jamarcus Watkins. So, guys, I'm super honored to have you here on the bus with me. I obviously had to make the special deal with Jamarcus that Avari had to be here too for him to get on the bus. So I'm excited to have both you guys on the bus. So number one, and we'll start here, Avari, how are you guys feeling? How's everything going? You're 8-2 and we're moving into the playoffs.
We're feeling good. We're 8-2. We got a lot of momentum going into the playoffs. We're just going to try to play our best and play as a team going into the playoffs and try to make it all the way to state.
Hey, same kind of question over here, Jamarcus. How are you feeling and kind of watching your team in, those first two games, rough games, but rattling off 8 straight, and a lot of it's been, you two on the rushing attack for certain.
I'm very excited for this upcoming playoff game. In the past, we had casualties and things, but we've progressively gotten better, and I'm just ready to see what we can do.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm excited to get you guys out there. And, I mentioned it's 9 consecutive seasons that you have reached the playoffs, which means you two have never missed the playoffs. You both had older brothers play here. They've never missed the playoffs. So you guys are continuing some legacies. And I want to talk a little bit about the older brothers because I have an older brother as well. He didn't play at Clarksville High School. He graduated at school when we were in California. But, it came back here. He's a big Wildcat supporter, obviously, because I played here. But, Avari, for you, I think it's kind of cool because, Jamarcus and I were talking about this earlier. Our brothers, we never got to play on the field with our brother. You got to share the field with Amari for a little bit. Talk a little bit about kind of, I know your family legacy. I mean, everybody in this, in a stone's throw from anywhere in Clarksville know your legacy. So I won't harp on that too much because everybody and their mom writes an article about you and the Galbraith last name. But I think it's cool the fact that you got to play on the same field with your older brother. So talk a little bit about what it was like getting a chance to play with Amari.
Playing with my older brother, he was great on and off the field. We were always making plays together. He was a really big hitter, and he would go and fit the gaps. He would just be running with his head off. He'll lay a hit and then he'll get up and then he'll do it again the next play. So playing with my brother, it was really fun. It was really great. I had a really great time playing with him.
So, Jamarcus, for you, being Jacoby's younger brother, Jacoby, offensive lineman, not the same. I feel the same way, right? My older brother was O-line, D-line guy too. I get it. I was a skills guy. It's a completely different world. What was it like with, just having Jacoby out there to kind of guide you in those younger days of being like, hey, this is what you can expect at Clarksville High when you get there?
So for me, my brother is a great role model. if somebody asks you, like, what is a perfect example of a great human being, I'm going to say Jacoby Watkins. Like, he has helped me so much, and I didn't get to play with him, but I was there to support him at every game, and he is here when he can be.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a beautiful shot last week, Cane Ridge game. We had the video up there of that, and we saw during that time was your brother with your fat head, and he was leading off the video. So always love to see Jacoby out there. What type of advice did Amari kind of give you after? Because obviously he's now at Kentucky Wesleyan. He's continuing the dream of playing football. What was kind of the message that he left for you last year when he was like, "Hey man, it's yours now"? He told me to always push myself, always go forward, never go backwards, and when something comes up, you're just gonna have to go over that and overcome it. Yeah, and again, you were talking about Jacoby being a good role model, and he always could impart some good words of wisdom on everybody. I mean, it's one of the things that Jacoby's always been really good at. What was kind of the message to you? What was he, what did he say to you, after he kind of left, and what does he say to you when he comes back into town to talk to you a little bit?
He is always pushing me to get better. Like, he sees the goodness in me, and then he tells me my flaws so I can fix it and, continue being a better human being.
Yeah, absolutely. And sometimes, and I get it, you hate when your older brother's right and they tell you something, you're like, no, you're not right. And then all of a sudden it gets proven right. And I get that. I'm very much, I have similar older brother situation that you do as well. It's frustrating sometimes when they're right and you're like, they can't be right. Like, I know they can't. But talk a little bit about your guys' journey so far here at Clarksville High School. And like I said, I mean, you guys both kind of knew from an early age where you were coming to school, and you kind of knew, this is where it was going to be, was at Clarksville High School. But Avari, talk about you still got a year ahead of you. You're in your junior campaign. Just talk a little bit about what you've seen from Clarksville High School over the past 3 years.
It's been pretty up and down. I'd say we'd go 10-0, and then we'll end up falling in the playoffs. That was a hard thing to look at. So this year, I just want to come out and try to actually push into the playoffs and try to do something in the playoffs and win a game.
Yeah, absolutely. And Jamarcus, I mean, in your senior season, for a fact, this is where you can kind of make a legacy of better than your brother's legacy, better than, the guys like James and those guys that you looked up to and played with the past couple years. What's kind of going through your mind heading into this week?
I'm coming prepared. We're getting ready to win, hopefully. Yeah, we have a good team that we're going up against. We're just going to play our form of football on our field and hopefully come out with the win.
Yeah, absolutely. What's it like to be able to kind of continue the legacy, too? Because I think that's kind of a cool thing for both of you. And Avari, you can start there. What's it like to be able to kind of, continue that legacy of being like, hey, I'm a Clarksville Wildcat, and, I'm continuing a legacy that was set way before me, but I'm trying to make sure that standard, people remember, they're always going to remember the Galbraith name, but they need to remember Amari and Avari and, us as well.
It's pretty great stepping up on the field with my brothers, just knowing that we're going to play that type of football. We're going to go downhill, and just carrying that name on through Clarksville High, it's pretty great. Knowing that I step on the field, I'm putting in that work, and I'm just dedicated to the sport.
Absolutely. Jamarcus, kind of same question there for you, to be able to kind of continue, your older brother's legacy and other family members, you're able to kind of step out there and you're continuing that. What's that like for you?
It is a great experience. Just everybody before me has already set a standard, and my goal is to come out here and set a new standard that's hopefully better than the person before me.
Absolutely. Avari and Jamarcus, you guys are both dual sport athletes, which, we always love to kind of comment on that. And, it's very rare that we have a guy on the football team that, is, I would say, is a major contributor that doesn't do something else. Avari, you're a pretty good wrestler. I think we all kind of know that. You're a pretty good wrestler, man. What's it like during wrestling season? I mean, what's kind of the difference? And, why do you wrestle?
I wrestle to get better at football. The conditioning is definitely there. The conditioning is definitely the hardest part about it. But I just love stepping on the mat, and I love just being physical.
We know. We all know Avari enjoys being physical, that's for certain. Jamarcus, for you, I know you're a track guy, and I'm sure, in the spring, if it's there and you're feeling it, that's what you're going to be on is the track. What's it like, because you go from, football and wrestling's the same way. I know, obviously, there's team points, and there's team points in track as well, but, when you're in there, in football, it's 11 players on the field at the time. In wrestling, it's one-on-one on a mat. On a track, it's 1 versus 8, but then there's 4 heats of 1 versus 8, So what's it like, kind of like your mentality when you're stepping out on the track to, what are you utilizing it for?
So for me, I've, always had speed as a child. So I've always been competitive, and I, really, really love racing. So that's just, a thing that I'm passionate about. Yeah. And I love the Saturdays where we wake up early in the morning, go out there, put our spikes on, and see who's the best.
Yeah, absolutely. I will say this much. I ran track as well. I mean, that was a lot of pounds ago, but I ran track as well. I was a sprinter myself. I used to always hate the fact, and I'm sure you're going to say the same thing, you get there early and then all the sprinting events are late. They're always late, and you stand there for hours at a time. So if you don't do a field event, you're just sitting there trying to keep yourself it's mentally warm more than anything. You can go run on the track all day long, but it's a mental warmness because the 100's in the middle, and then the 200's 5 events later, and then the 4x2's 5 events after that, and you're good, I just want to go home, but it's an all-day event. So that was always my biggest concern with track was I just felt like I was there all day. But regardless, it's a good sport. I'm glad you guys are dual sport athletes as well. It makes all of us proud, and it's continuing the legacy of Clarksville High School because you can go back generation after generation after generation of guys who played here in the football field, but they were baseball players, basketball players. They ran track. They were involved in so much. They wrestled. So it's always good that you guys kind of continue that legacy as well. So. My final question for you guys, and we kind of talked about it a little bit before, but we're hoping that we're here next week on Wednesday night at Varsity Pins. We're hoping that we're here. We're hoping we're sitting on the bus again. We want to continue this tradition. We want to keep this streak live. You're talking about we want to play deep into the playoffs. So we are going to have a guest next week on this bus with Coach Shelby and I. So Jamarcus, who is your nomination?
I choose Max Cunningham.
Max Cunningham. All right, so Max will join us next week. Guys that you guys are pretty familiar with on the defensive side of the ball for certain, but Max will join us next week. Guys, you did great, man. I don't know why Jamarcus was so scared to get up here, man. He did a really good job. I appreciate you guys coming up here, man.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
All right, guys, you enjoy your night. We're going to step aside. Coach Shelby is going to come up here and join me in a second. You're listening to the Isaac Shelby Coaches Show. And welcome back to the Isaac Shelby Coaches Show. I am joined by the head football coach of the Clarksville High School Wildcats, Coach Isaac Shelby. He is up here on the bus with me. Jamarcus is wanting his charger. He's going to have to wait for a couple minutes here.
Jamarcus is going to have to wait.
Just
talk to my wife about that.
Yeah, just a couple of minutes here. We'll get you your phone charger in just a second.
My
all
phone
right?
died during practice, man.
Yeah, so you
have to talk to my wife about that.
Yeah, we'll get it here in a couple seconds, Jamarcus. Just sit here for a couple minutes. You'll be fine. So, Coach Shelby, as we mentioned, this is a special playoff edition of the podcast. I'm excited to have you here. 9th consecutive season that the Wildcats have been in the postseason.
Yeah, that's hard to do. I think it's a big thing for our program to continue to get in this spot every year. Obviously, it's what you play the 10 games for, so we're excited about it.
Absolutely. I want to give a couple shout-outs here like we normally do. Of course, Varsity Pins, we want to thank them for allowing us to be on location here on the bus, getting a chance to do the Coaches Show for another week. We also want to shout out Sheepdog Custom Ink, Coach Stephen Conway and company. We want to thank them. They keep us dressed looking nice all season long, and they do so much, including this beautiful banner that's right here in front of you. Of course, if you need to reach out for anything, banner, whatever it is, he has you covered. Reach out to Sheepdog Custom Ink. We also want to shout out, of course, Wyatt Johnson Hyundai. They have brought a car to every game so far. Mm-hmm. So, of course, they're excited. They're going to get a couple free games here.
Yeah, they get free time.
Absolutely. If we can continue to win and stay at home here, that's what the main plan is. Of course, we also want to shout out Smoothie King. Tomorrow is the big $9.99 deal at Smoothie King. It's on Thursdays. Every dollar, I believe it's $1 for everybody that buys, ends up going towards Clarksville High School football. So, of course, if you're out and about and you want to go to Smoothie King, I didn't even ask these guys what they got at Smoothie King. I'm sure Jamarcus would tell us something fun at Smoothie King. You have a Smoothie King drink? Smoothie King drink? You got one? No. What do you get at Smoothie King? A what? Caribbean Way. That's what Kanan said. Yeah. So the Caribbean Way is what we've heard is a good one to go for. And, of course, Callie & Co., the welcome signs that you see, you can see it at Coach Shelby's house. A couple other people have had them as well. We have been working on those signs. My wife and I have been working those and kind of creating those over the season. So, again, if you want to get one for your house and you have a school, she even added in elementary schools, whatever it is.
Really?
So if you have an elementary school, whatever it is, you're a teacher that wants one for your classroom, just reach out to us, Callie & Co., and we'll get that taken care of. All right,
also,
Coach.
Senior Moms Club over there seems to be growing. They can't even hear us over here.
Yeah, the senior moms, we appreciate them every week for coming out. Congratulations. You have raised some good kiddos, and we appreciate them. We got to see all them. They actually, before this went on, we had the senior mom tackle video going on.
Oh, yeah, that was good.
Yeah.
That was interesting. I think DJ's mom did the best one. Yeah, she didn't DJ up.
She
slammed
good.
It. That was good. Yeah.
Good. The senior mom tackle was something that started last year. We're glad that that's continuing and that those moms have kept that alive. I'm sure the junior moms, there they are. The senior moms see us. Hello, now we got them. I'm sure the junior moms will want to keep that alive next year when they become the senior moms. But again, thank them for coming out. They come out every week, so we appreciate them coming out and supporting us as well. So, Coach, you end the season against Cane Ridge. It's one of those games. When I talked to Taylor and I talked to Coach Conway last week when they were up here, it was one of those games where, you have the region locked up. You have that one spot locked up in the region for the playoffs. You know you're going to be at home, but it's still an important game to kind of finish unblemished in the region. How did you feel your team did?
I think they played well. I think we're carrying some momentum right now that was important. Didn't want to stub your toe in that game. We were talking about Cane Ridge, and I thought of a Jamarcus story from when he was a freshman. I remember you said he was competitive, and he is competitive for sure. But when he was a freshman, he broke his foot or his ankle or something. I forget. He broke something in his foot, and he'd been in this boot for like 6 or 8 weeks. And we'd gone down to Cane Ridge, and they had us down pretty good. And then we came back to win the game. But I remember walking back up at halftime, and it was like a really, really tense situation. And Jamarcus caught me at the edge of the track and followed me all the way over, explaining to me the entire time that he could get his mom to sign a note that said he could take that boot off and he could play, and he could just get somebody else's pads and he could play right then. But he hadn't practiced in like 8 weeks. I forget what it was, but that's the story about Jamarcus being competitive for sure.
Yeah, and again, I mean, that's why he's a guy that we've relied on since. I mean,
Yeah.
even in his freshman year, you could tell he had a lot of special qualities about him, and he was going to be a really good player. And I know he's going to continue his career and still be a good player once he leaves here, and just continue to become better each and every single time. And
Absolutely.
wherever he ends up, the coach is getting a good one. I mean,
Yeah.
we both know that he's talented. He's got a lot more talent probably in his pinky toe than a lot of people have.
Yeah,
in life.
100%, 100%.
All right, Coach. So, you mentioned Cane Ridge getting the guys fired up for that one and just making sure that they were ready to go. To be able to, and we're going to talk playoffs and all that good stuff here in a minute in our last segment, because we'll do a preview of Independence, and Mr. Gray's got some really cool graphics that we're going to see
really? Okay.
in the last segment. So we'll have that. But, of course, to be able to get to 9 seasons in a row and to win 3 consecutive region championships, and I know you're never going to say like, oh yeah, I'm it's me. You're always going to put that credit on the players and things like that, because you've said it before, they're the ones running the ball, they're the ones tackling, things of that nature. But what does it say for the program to have these 3 consecutive region championships? What does it say about just the legacy that's been leaving here?
I think it says that like the bones of our program are strong. I think it says that fundamentally we're teaching the right things, because while we've won 3 consecutive region championships, I know you would agree they're very different teams, very different groups of people, very different sets of seniors. It's not just a rinse and repeat thing, and you got to make some adjustments every year and do some different things. So I credit it to retaining staff. We've had some small turnover in staff, but every time we've had turnover, it's because a guy's getting a promotion to another job, or last year we lost Devin to Colorado. I mean, we've lost some assistant coaches to some pretty good college jobs recently. So, I just think our staff does a good job just staying together, and I think our kids do a good job of being coachable for the most part. I think you always want to teeter on that line of boring. Like if the kids aren't saying they're bored, you're not working the fundamentals hard enough. And if they're too bored, then you're going to lose. You know what I mean? Then you need to change some up. So you have to have kind of a propensity for boredom to maintain that kind of success, I think.
Yeah, and one of the cool things that, and I know you'll mention this as well, is part of that success is Clarksville High School, just the tradition in general.
Yeah.
And we had 2 players that were just sitting up here that you also were able to coach their older brothers at Clarksville High School, and I think a lot of that plays into kind of the expectation of why Jamarcus wants to be better in his time at CHS than Jacoby was. And Jacoby was on some really good teams.
Good teams, yeah.
Avari talked about it, Amari was on those 2 10-0 teams, but hey, we're not 10-0. We won a region championship like them, but we want to make a push in the playoffs. It just, I think that also plays into where we're at as well.
I think it does, and I think just building bridges in the community. Like I remember both of those 2 when they were like little kids camp. I don't know, 10 years ago, and one of the pictures that I always keep is Bryson. And there's a picture of Bryson and Laney at little kids camp. They're playing linemen. That was before Bryson grew. I think he was always like the same weight, but he grew a lot. Kind of grew into his weight. But those kids being at little kids camp a decade ago, and just understanding the expectation at our school. And I think it's across all sports, which is I think is the biggest thing. It's Clarksville High is not one of those schools where you say, oh, that's a basketball school, or that's a baseball school, or that's a football school. I think we're just an athletic school because the expectations are high in every sport.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, well, we're going to step aside here. I'm going to let Jamarcus get his charger back, because I know he's fired up. You got some battery life here, so we're going to get the charger over to Jamarcus real quick. But we're going to step aside. When we come back, we're going to talk about the upcoming week in the playoffs, and what we can expect out of Independence coming up after the break.
Appreciate the hookup, Jamarcus.
And welcome back to the Isaac Shelby Coaches Show. Coach, you're getting caught up on about 1 billion messages that came through while you were trying to coach, and now we're getting things rolling in the right way here. So
yeah, there was a lot of text messages there. I can't let my phone die like that. People give me a hard time. But,
that's true. Yeah. Last week I had the charging pad. I brought that into practice.
Yeah,
so
that helped in the gym Thursday.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because your phone was not taking a charge.
You know,
and I
it's
was
a
like,
busy.
I got you.
You know, it's a busy day when I get to 2:00 and just this nonsense is going on. So.
Absolutely. Yeah, I just stopped answering. You can't do that though, so that's the issue. All right, Coach, so we got some cool graphics we're going to talk about here, and we're going to show those. First, Mr. Greg made a graphic here for us that shows kind of our region, how it finishes off, so you can see top 4 advance to the playoffs. Of course, we have that 1 seed out of our region. Antioch, we got the win against them, and I know people might be confused. It's 8-2, 9-1 overall, but you can see the region record. We have that head-to-head victory over. Perfect in it.
I think that Antioch-Shelbyville game in the first round is going to be a good ball game.
Absolutely.
I think it's going to be a good ball game.
Absolutely. I agree with you on that one. Of course, Cane Ridge got the 4 seed there, and I mentioned this a while ago. I thought Rossview had a really good chance to run the table at the late end of the season, which they did.
They did.
Against region opponents, and so they are able to get in there. They're going to go on the road. So we don't technically have the sister regions, but we'll show you the region that that we'll see. We may see several teams from this if we can continue a good run, but you'll see Independence there. Of course, we played Shelbyville early on in the year. They finished 4-2 in their region. You can see Independence is 3-3 in the region. Of course, they're playing against teams like Ravenwood and Brentwood and Shelbyville, which are very talented teams. And you've mentioned this to the team this week: is they may be 4-5, they may be 3-3 in the region, but they're going against some of the top teams in the state. Absolutely.
And the state changed this. This is the first year of the change, but used to, you had the sister region, you played it all the way out. And there were some coaches in the Coaches Association that made a really good point, honestly. You know, you've got some traditional powerhouses like Maryville and Oakland and some stuff like that. And the sister regions kept marrying up to those guys where you're getting like a state championship quality game in like the first round or the second round sometimes. So I think this actually kind of changes it up. I think it's kind of fun too because, you know, we've played Germantown, we've played Collierville, we haven't played Independence. So, you know, I think the Z plan actually was the best one a long time ago, but this is a good, this is kind of a good in between of it. Yeah, I agree with you. And of course, we'll have the whole look at the 6A tournament as well from top to bottom here. And that is, we'll see it. This is the west side of the playoffs. Of course, the east side will feature teams like Maryville, like Coach was talking about. But you can see, as Coach was mentioning, the Region 7, number 2, and the Region 8, number 3. The winner of that game would take on the winner of our game. And then, of course, you have Ravenwood, who's taking on Cane Ridge, Germantown, who's taking on Houston. So you have some of these traditional 7 versus 8 kind of matchups, but you also have your Region 5 versus 6 or Region 7 mixed in there as well. So it's not the exact same look that you would get, but there's a lot of interesting first-round matchups in there. There really is. The idea in the first round was to kind of keep the travel reasonable, you know what I mean? And I think the state accomplished that. And then the idea in the second round is to play somebody that, you know, you haven't played or is non-traditional geographically for you, and I think they accomplished that. So there's a lot of really good teams in the bracket. Southwind's unbelievable. Germantown is Germantown. We all know that. You know, Collierville, you know, they are what they are. I said the Antioch-Shelbyville game should be a good one. And then you got Ravenwood in the bracket too. So, I mean, there's just a lot of good football teams in there, and hopefully we can just kind of last week by week and see what happens. Yeah, and I know on the eastern side of that, that's where you're going to have your Oaklands and your Maryvilles and a lot of those traditional teams. Yeah, they can stay over there. Yeah, absolutely. We'll be deal okay. With them at one point. We'll hang out trying to win the best of the West, if you will. That's what we're aiming for. So you've mentioned Independence, and you mentioned, when you get to the playoffs, it's a couple of things. It's, every team is fighting to win. Yeah. It's survive and advance, to quote the great Coach Jimmy V, but it's survive and advance always in the playoffs. It's going to be against a team that has been tested all season. What can we expect from Independence? What are you looking at in this team? When you do the scouting report on them, they're really, really senior heavy, which is scary. Anytime you get a senior heavy team in the playoffs, I think their quarterback's really good. I think they've got a bunch of good receivers. Offensively, they're efficient. They do what they do. Scott Blade's a really, really good football coach, a state champion coach. Defensively, they're the same way. They have a scheme. They play it hard. They know what they're doing. I think Seven is a really, really good football player. it's going to be a tough task for us for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you on that. And you can flip on the film and see that this is a team that, you mentioned it, if you get behind on a team like this, how do you pull yourself out? Do you have the guys that can do it? Do they believe in themselves that they have that within them? And that's going to be the big question, I think, for both these teams, and that's the question in every playoff game that you get is, if you get down at any point, do you have the ability to lead a comeback? And it's about digging deep about that.
I agree. We haven't been down very much in the past couple of years, which was one of the reasons we scheduled Blackman and Oakland to kind of feel that, you know what I mean? Shelbyville, those good quality teams out of district. So, it'll be interesting to see. I can't tell you what'll happen until it happens. It's something we talked about the kids after practice today, and we'll just kind of have to see how it rolls.
All right, Coach. Well, the game still scheduled for Friday this week.
Yes.
I know
Yes.
there's always questions on, what could happen, what's not going on. And we're scheduled for Friday and, playing football against Independence here at Clarksville High School. Again, what's kind of the words to the Clarksville High faithful about being there on Friday?
I mean, we looked at it. I think the storm is going to be dwindling out by the time the game starts. I do think it's going to rain before, but I think it's going to be dwindling out. But 3 first-round games in a row. I don't think anybody else is playing. Is everybody playing in town Friday?
I think so. I don't think anybody's moved to Thursday yet in town.
Just come out, support your local high school, whatever it is. If you're, there's not very many teams left, and there's even, half of them playing at home. So we're here. We're right around the corner. It's going to be a fun Friday night. Come out and support and fill that place up like it should be, because I think these kids deserve a full stadium, and our community does an excellent job of that. Yeah. Like, we don't have to beg people to come to our games and stuff like that. But I think filling that stadium up is just a big deal for these kids, because you never know when it's going to end. Could be over in 24 hours, could be over in 4 weeks, could be over in 5 weeks. Anything in between is also possible. So, we're just hoping that we're going to go out there and play really good football. A brand of football our community can be proud of. And then whatever happens will happen on that,
Yeah, absolutely, Coach. All right, well, we want to give a shout out to our sponsors here. Of course, we mentioned them. Of course, with Varsity Pins, I talked to John today. He said he wanted us to keep winning so we can keep coming out on Wednesday night. He said as long as we're winning, we'll have to talk about next Wednesday if we win, because I have a ESPN Plus game, so we got to talk about that one. So that's we're gonna have to make some adjustments. Maybe next week we'll have more conversations about that, and we'll of course let everybody know on social media. So if you're not following us at Clarksville Football, you might want to jump on there and follow us at Clarksville Football, because we might have to make some changes for next week. Of course, we want to thank again Wyatt Johnson Hyundai. We want to thank Coach Stephen Conway with Sheepdog Custom Inc. He has been phenomenal for us. Has been a big supporter of the podcast since day one. Since he's opened his business, he has been a huge supporter for us. Of course, we want to thank Middle Tennessee Sports, Mr. Greg, Miss Sarah. Of course, they do so much for us, bringing us all the action, and everybody at home, they get a chance to watch it on a live stream because of the great work that they're doing. They're always making advancements in this. I mean, we have a monitor now on here.
Yeah, where'd that come from?
Mr. Greg just wanting us to be the best of the best.
I can see myself.
So Mr. Greg taking care of us, and of course, they bring that live stream on Fridays or Thursdays, and they're always making adjustments. They're also doing baseball and soccer at the school, so I think they've done a couple basketball games, so they're involved as well, and they're taking a lot of pride in that, so I want to thank them as well.
I think you'd be shocked at how many people tell me what a great job they do, just based purely off the the military community that we live in. We've got uncles and we've got grandpas and moms and aunts, and they're all over the country, and they're able each week to watch their kids, and it's just a really, really cool thing. And I think it gives great work experience for Aiden Davis, Jonathan Bowie, and those guys that are in your class at the P, to be able to do that and kind of work the kinks out for that. And those guys are all former players of ours, so I just think that's really cool.
Yeah, we were able to, I was able to move Aiden over into a color role so he could understand a little bit more of the, you can always do play-by-play, but until you can dissect the game, you can't really do both. And so we had a long conversation, and we brought in a young man named Clayton Carroll, who's from the Chattanooga area, but he's one of my students, and he was like, man, I love it. He'd been wanting to come out to a Clarksville High game, and every time he was trying to cover it for one of the classes, he'd get sent elsewhere, and he's like, I really want to come watch y'all. So.
I just think it's cool being able to give those guys like real work experience. Like we talked to them a lot about that, and some of these guys are going to be lucky to go play on college football, and some of them are going to go to school, and a bunch of them are going to go to work. And we've had a lot of successful guys. Like an Eli McGahey, choose that path. And for Aiden and Jonathan and those guys to be able to get real experience in that, right after graduation is a really cool thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, shout out to Smoothie King. Don't forget the $9.99 Thursday. And of course, Callie & Co. If you want to sign a custom sign for your house, it says Go Cats, says Go Wildcats, let's go Wildcats, whatever you want, we'll take care of you as well for that. But again, Coach, it's been a great week, and we're hoping we can continue to do this for the next couple ones, hopefully on a good drive to the state championship. So we're fired up, and I know these guys are fired up to continue the work.
They're ready to go, and hope we get to see you next week, man.
All right, Coach. Well, as always, I know you like to say it.
Go Cats.
Go Cats. Thank you guys so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching. If you're watching this on the live stream, and of course, you can join us when we have our show here at Varsity Pins Live, like our senior moms who came out here tonight. Give them another shout out. So senior and some junior moms over there as well.
Junior moms too, yeah.
So shout out to them for coming out and being a part of our audience.
Where are the dads?
That's why they're all here. They said
I think
no
the dads are just home resting.
They're taking care of the kids tonight.
They're home resting. Okay.
Absolutely. All right. Well, thanks so much for listening to us for another week. We will hope that you join us again next week.